All right. Shalom, 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 peace. Welcome to another episode of DSTM. Don't shoot the messenger. Don't do it. It's episode number 226. All praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh Shai. This is Brother Amath. IQAhmath, first name. IQ is all the same. It's a Man of Monday, y'all. Hopefully everybody's well. Man of Monday. I know it's been a minute, but I ain't forgot. I ain't forgot. We get it in when we can. You understand? Hopefully everybody's doing well, man. This evening, make sure that you've hit the like button, wiped your feet before you partake in this plate. All right, do your brother that solid, man. I really appreciate it and appreciate all the support that everybody's shown to Messengers of the Covenant and the DSTM episodes. Uh, want to run a few things by y'all real quick. Don't want to be too long. I always say that, but I mean it. But just how the spirit of the Lord be having me move, man. Sometimes I go longer than expected. But we're gonna get right to it. We're gonna get right to it. I got a few things I want to share with brothers and sisters, man. Yeah, 2024, Europe and Cuba in particular are changing up and and are instituting travel restrictions. So the B system now is getting ready to start implementing bans on methods of travel to Europe now. And you know how many Europeans are here. You know how many so-called Negroes and Hispanics, man, want to take their little dream vacations to Europe. Well, those things are changing unless you go through a particular system. Oh, oh yeah. And if you're a European, you won't be able to travel to Cuba anymore. Well, we'll look at that. We'll look at that. So travel restrictions are coming in. Remember those things that were happening over the last 3 years, and there were quarantines and restrictions on travel. If you didn't have a passport that supported your medical protocols being followed, remember that. Remember I told you how they slide things under the table while you're not looking. Well, here we go. 2024. There's going to be restrictions on travel. We'll look at the homeless situation. A lot of things going down there in San Diego, Florida. We know that the 10 cities are in completely out of control here in California. San Diego's getting ready to start kicking the homeless up off the streets, even if there's no beds available for in shelters. Uh, the rent moratoriums are coming up in L.A., meaning everybody that wasn't paying their rent because of the health issue that was going on. You know what I'm saying? For the last 3 years, they weren't paying the rent. Now there's let's say thousands of possible evictions that are going to be taking place starting next month, right? And in other words, starting tomorrow. You dig what I'm saying? And We got a plague in Florida, a leprosy, yellow trucking company, centuries-year-old company is going belly up. 30,000 people facing termination and their pensions gone. Let's get right to it, y'all. Let's get right to it. So let's get right to it right here. Let's preface this but with a scripture as usual. We're going to go to let's see, Second Ezra 15, and this is a prime example of what's going to be happening in the last days, right? Um, so the Lord said in Second Ezra 15 and 1, Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people in the words of prophecy which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. So, for the naysayers who are always talking about the Bible and the scriptures were written by man at the commands of the Lord, through the inspiration and the spirit that the Most High puts upon man. Man, in particular, our brother Ezra, the prophet, was able to give this understanding of what would be happening in the last days. So this is how we know that these words didn't come from man. It came through the instructions and through the spirit of the Most High. When we read something like this happening, verse 17, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. These are all things that we're seeing happening right now. Look at verse 16. We've read this a number of times. So you also already know where I'm going with this. For there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. We're seeing multiple civil unrest and riotings and um, seditious behavior amongst overthrowings of governments from Haiti to Ecuador to Paris, all over the world. We're seeing these things happening. Then it's saying that there's going to be restrictions on travel. A man desiring to go in the city and not be able. Let's look at this. Say goodbye to permissionless travel, meaning you can travel without permit restrictions. They're saying say goodbye to that. Americans will need a visa to visit Europe in 2024. Meanwhile, Europeans who have been to Cuba are discovering they can't come to the US because of terrorism. Oh, excuse me. Europeans who've been to Cuba, excuse me, I said the Europeans can't go to Cuba. I had that mixed up trying to go off of memory. It's Europeans who've been to Cuba because of Cuba's association with China and Russia. Now we're in what they can consider the Cold War 2.0. I mean, look where we're back to, and look what they're utilizing. Oh, your biometrics. Let's look at this. Once upon a time, citizens of the United States could travel to almost every country in the European Union for 90 days without asking any government permission beyond showing a passport at the initial point of entry. Listen to that. You used to be able to go to Europe. You can stay up to 90 days just off of your passport alone. That's no longer happening come 2024. It was and still is for a very few waning months a marvelous and under acknowledged achievement for liberty. Alas, the days of frictionless travel will soon be a memory. Starting at a so far unspecified date in early 2024, Americans and residents of 62 other countries that currently enjoy visa-free visitation to Schengen area of the EU will need to pay a fee and submit an online application, including what biometric information. That's the system. That's the B system. Your biometrics. We've seen it through the orb technology where they want to scan your eyeball so you can have the new world coin and have the one economic policy that they're trying to get, go forward with. The cashless payment systems from Amazon Fresh where you pay with your palm rather than, paying with anything else. I mean, you know where this is going. So the new visas now are going to be set up through biometric information, work experience, medical conditions, and initial itinerary. So now they want to know about your job, your medical conditions, you know where that's from, and your initial itineraries. Where are you going? How long you're going to be there? Who you visiting? All that other good stuff. Then pass a criminal security background check before enjoying the croissant and gay Paris. The grimly named European Travel Information Authorization System is projected to cost €7 per application and take up to 14 days to render a decision. So, without further ado, you can see the particular things that are coming down the pipeline in regards to travel. And you say, well, IQ, who cares? I'm not going to Europe. I don't care about Paris or Brussels or, England or whatever the case may be. Guess what? This is just the beginning. You know that there's always one door opens. And once that door opens, they go in and they start unlocking all the other doors. So you can expect this to expand because they're going to start celebrating the successes of keeping out all of the migrants and keeping out any troublemakers and all the other stuff. And then they're going to say, okay, well, you know what? Well, let's do that for the Caribbean. Let's do that for Mexico. Let's do that for Haiti. Let's do that for, everywhere that Jake's is at where we need to go travel to go, gather our people. They're going to have all kind of restrictions. And you're going to have to be locked into the system. They want to have your biometric information, your criminal background, security checks, medical conditions, the whole nine. So the system of the beast, man, is ramping it up, man. If you think he's in the fourth gear now, he done shifted to fifth. And there's only 6 gears in this car that's driving towards the end times. All right, so just want to bring that out real quick, man. Y'all can do some more research on it. But permissionless travel, bye-bye come 2024, starting in Europe, and it's going to expand. Let's move on. Okay. Let's look at this next one. Yellow Trucking Company. Okay. 100-year-old American company. This is one of the biggest companies, trucking companies. And you know how this is going to affect uh, uh, goods and services, travel. I mean, as far as what do you call it? Imports, exports, or whatnot. And we're already in the time of inflation. There was a video, man, of a brother, man. He went ballistic to his union head, man, and was mad because he was told that when a company files bankruptcy, like they're going to be doing and laying off everybody, their pensions now are in jeopardy. Now, typically, pensions are guaranteed, but there are clauses in certain pensions, many pensions, that say that a company can only pay, they might only pay you 30% of your pension. Or if it gets bought out by like another company, I believe they say that they don't have to honor the full pension. The new company doesn't have to. I mean, it's all kind of backdoor policies that the so-called white man lines up and has people standing in hopes that the brother went ballistic. He was like, "Man, I've been working here 30 something years. Don't tell me I'm tripping. I'm mad." I mean, the brother was hot, man. I don't know if y'all seen it. It's a TikTok video, I believe. I think it might be embedded in this article. Believe it or not, some of y'all might have seen it. But let's look at this. Yellow Trucking could shutter within 30 days, leaving the trucking firm's 30,000 workers out of a job. So here's another 30,000 who's going to be hitting the unemployment lines. Let alone we talked about last weekend or the weekend before last. I can't remember which one. But remember the 100 banks that are all going belly up. Um, there was just a recent bank in Kansas City, I think, last week that went belly up and got absorbed by a bigger bank. I mean, the layoffs are still going strong. The economy is not all that it seems. I mean, they just raised the interest rates again, another 0.25%. And don't think that because the stock market is doing well, that means the economy is shaking and moving. No, they're not connected like that. They're only shaking and moving because they've gotten an influx of money and cooking the books, messing with the stocks. They got an influx of fake money from the Fed to save them from collapse. A lot of these companies from collapsing, just like this one, Yellow Trucking Company. They got a bailout, 700 million, and they still folded. Nearly 100-year-old American company could shut down as soon as Monday. I'm talking about today. Reports of a cash crunch combined with major layoffs on Friday have observers preparing for the worst. The company was given a controversial $700 million COVID loan from the government that Congress now says should not have been granted. The nearly 100-year-old company is known for its competitive pricing and has more than 12,000 trucks shipping freight across the U.S. brands, including Walmart and Home Depot. So guess what happens when they don't get these goods coming in? It's going to cost a little bit more because they're going to have to go to outside competition. They were known for competitive pricing. So now that Walmart, Home Depot, and whoever else was using their services, they're going to have to pay more to get their goods and the shipping freight's taken care of. That means prices are going to go up at Walmart and Home Depot. According to Wall Street Journal, the company is preparing to file for bankruptcy and is in the process of selling off the other parts of the business. The total shutdown is expected within days. See, it's not even like there's a bankruptcy to reshuffle and refocus their finances, to claim Chapter 13 or whichever one it is, Chapter 5 or 7, I think. They got 7 and 13, I think, where you can do a little economic restructuring to try to save the company. They're going belly up, man. They're saying, listen, we don't have the assets. We don't have the money to even try to make it look like we can continue on with business. We're just going to shut it down. Hundreds of non-union yellow employees were laid off Friday from the Nashville, Tennessee company, and about 22,000 Teamsters members' jobs hang in the balance. So there you have it. Another collapse happening, man. America facing utter turmoil. Now you get ready to have about 30,000 more people, man, hitting the unemployment line looking for work. Okay. Major trucking company, man, then folded up. So you know what happens with that. Let's move on. Let's look at this. Police are about to enforce San Diego's new homeless camping ban. Nobody's quite sure what will happen next. So now they're getting ready to ban the homeless living out on the streets. Look, let me look at it. Hold on. Let me look at the scripture real quick with y'all. Job 24. And this is the ultimate. This is one of the judgments of the wicked. This is what happens to our people, man. When we don't abide by the laws and the commandments of the Most High, one of the things that the Most High said is He'll enact homelessness on us. Here we go, verse 7. Job 24:7 says, "They cause the naked to lodge without clothing, that they have no covering in the cold." So when somebody's out there in the streets, you got no food, no clothing. It could be rain, hail, sleet, snow. People out there homeless, man, they have to deal with all of that. Okay. Verse 8, they are wet with the showers of the mountains and embrace the rock for want of shelter. What's the rock for want of shelter? That concrete. Sleeping on the ground, right? That's what the Most High is showing us of what can happen when one goes against the ways of the Most High. And also, man, you see all them homeless white folks, man, that's their judgment and their punishment too. This is their kingdom. They're pretty much casualties of war, man. All they got to do is clean up, man, get off the drugs, put the bottle down, and they'll get a job before you or me first. If they clean up their act. But no, some of them are just getting banished to the streets, as a judgment for the Most High. So look at this. It says they pluck the fatherless from the breast and take a pledge of the poor. They cause him to go naked without clothing, and they take away the sheaf from the hungry. So this is what ends up happening, And now you're seeing in San Diego, just like they've done at Venice Beach, here in California, they did a whole sweep and kicking the homeless out off of the beaches. Right after the little plague was kind of getting under control. Actually, it was a little bit before that. They were sweeping them out, telling them that they can get homeless vouchers. That they were opening up. Getting these little hotels and homeless vouchers. Tell them they can go find some shelters. Meanwhile, that there was a waiting list. So they're telling people, "Oh, we got the shelters," but meanwhile, there's waiting lists and there's no guarantees for housing for these people. Sirach 29. Let's read 21. 21, right? It says the chief thing for life is water and bread and clothing, and then house to cover shame. These are the main things that the Most High said. If you got to have and build with contentment, at least have these things in place: water, bread, clothing, and a house to cover shame. Better is the poor life of a man in a mean cottage than delicate fare in another man's house. So to have independence, to have your own, even if it's a little shack, man, a little one bedroom, a little studio apartment, whatever you got to have, the Lord said it's better to have that than to be roommating or to be, sleeping from couch to couch or being dependent upon another man's table for bread. It's nothing worse. It says, be a little or much, hold thee contented, that thou hear not the reproach of thy house. For it is a miserable life to go from house to house. For where thou art a stranger, thou darest not open thy mouth. So they don't have no rights. Don't open your mouth. What are you going to say? See, look at them. You see the heathen, man, they got the little lawn chairs. They posted up. Living their living their judgment of the Lord. Now the Most High is going to jump on them and tell them, man, y'all got to get up out of here too. So where are they going to go? What's going to happen to them? Desperation is going to be kicking in sooner than later. Majalica Iseka left the Dominican Republic of the Congo. Dominican Republic, Democratic Republic of the Congo decades ago, back when it was called Zaire. She was only a few years old at the time and traveling with her grandparents. The family settled in San Diego. Then her grandparents died and things took a turn. On Friday, she sat outside of a blue tent on 8th Avenue downtown. Other makeshift shelters could be seen in all directions as she looked toward those inside. They're really just scared because they have nowhere to go. San Diego's controversial new camping ban took effect this weekend, and police plan to begin enforcement Monday of one of the city's most aggressive responses yet to the growing homeless crisis. Advocates are preparing for an already mobile population to become even more transient, potentially complicating efforts to connect people with shelter and services, while some who live and work downtown hope sidewalks long blocked by tents may finally clear. Many questions remain, including exactly where encampments will be prohibited. Let's look down here. It says there were fewer than 2,300 unsheltered people in the city of San Diego near the start of the pandemic, according to the regional task force on the homelessness. Hundreds more were counted in 2022. By the beginning of this year, officials tallied more than 3,200 without shelter, with the number of those newly homeless repeatedly outpacing the total who get housed. I think the homeless population in LA County is like 50,000, and it's probably going up. This was and I remember because and the only reason why I remember that number is because I remember Kobe Bryant doing a advertisement talking about the homeless population, and it was at 50 something thousand, and that's before he died. So he died in I think 2020 2019. So you know the numbers went up post pandemic. See, uh, look at this. So they said this is what the the housing people are talking about. I encourage unsheltered people to take advantage of our new safe sleeping site or available shelter beds. Council member Stephen Whitburn, who spearheaded the overhaul, said in a statement, "These options are much safer and healthier than living on sidewalks or in parks." So he says, "Oh, we've got plenty of new safe sleeping sites and available shelters. Come on in. How come you guys are sleeping out there? We've been waiting for you." Look at this. Hold on. Uh, I seen it. Hold on. There's a part here where it says, look, they got to get up off the streets even if there is no beds. Oh, let me see. Hold on. Oh, here we go. The unsafe camping ordinance prohibits encampments on public property if a shelter has availability. Yet, even if no beds are open, which often happens, police can still kick people out if they're staying in so called sensitive areas. So, if you're in a restricted area, you got to get the heck up out of there. Even though the councilman is talking about, oh, come on, get in these safe areas. We've got beds for you. Why you want to be out here on the street and in the parks? We got, listen, they said having no beds happens often. So in one breath, man, the devil is talking with a forked tongue, saying that there's beds and housing available, and we're giving it to you. But the reality is many a times there are no beds available. But what they are doing is making sure that they got the task force on deck and getting them people up off the streets. Right? They've already done it in many areas. Like I said, LA's already been doing it in Venice, in other particular areas. I know I remember went to Hawaii, went out teaching out there, and the one thing they do in Hawaii, in particular in Honolulu, they let the people sleep on the beaches. They can't be in the tourist areas, downtown Honolulu, anywhere where the money is flowing. They got to be up out of there. They can sleep on the beaches. You'll see tents all over the place on the beach. They doing ice and meth and all kind of stuff over there. But as long as they're staying out the way of the money, it's fine. You know. But this is what they're trying to do. They're moving people up out of there. Let's look up. Let's continue on here. This is another story. In particular, uh, why is this not on? Well, either way, it's not playing. I thought it was going to play. Don't have time to reload it. But you see here, thousands of Los Angeles tenants may face eviction over the pandemic era policy. Unpaid back rent from the first 18 months of the that thing was going on, a time in which tenants could not be evicted if they didn't immediately pay. So they're talking about that rent moratorium. People are facing the fact that they could be getting uh, evicted soon. Let me see if I can just pull it up real quick. Uh, yeah, here you see the LA Times. You can see, hold on, is this it? Let's see. After 3 years, LA County ends eviction protections for renters. Get out of here. Protection for renters harmed by the DVOC. You see? So because of this, the end of the moratorium, man, people that were sliding by, man, hopefully anybody that was involved in it, man, was wise with their money. That money you were saving up that was supposed to go to rent, you utilized it to go put a down payment on another place, or you've already invested it in, and you didn't, run out there and trick it off and doing some foolishness, because apparently they're saying thousands are facing eviction, meaning that now that that rent is due come tomorrow, they ain't got the money, or the owners are saying, well, you got back rent due, or however this thing is working, they're getting ready to kick a gang of people out on the streets. Okay. Uh, See, the elected leaders such as LA Mayor Karen Bass and local homeless service providers say they are bracing for a wave of evictions across the region after the DVOG 91 renter safeguards expire. We know that a huge number of people are really hanging on by a thread. And Ann Miskey, CEO of Union Station Homeless Services, what this could do is send a lot of people into homelessness. An estimated 246,000 renter households in the LA area were already behind on rent ahead of Friday's deadline. Did you hear that? 246,000 people that are renting are behind on rent right now in LA. And LA is expensive as hell. So imagine what's this going to do when the evictions start cracking. And people ain't gonna leave right away. They ain't gonna get the 3-day notice, a 30-day notice, and tell them you got to get out. They're gonna squat until they gotta call the sheriffs and get them up out of there. It's gonna be a mess. But you can expect more people out there on the streets. More people saying, "Mama, is my bedroom still available? Because I need to move in. Me and my wife and my 10 kids." It's going down. It's going down. Let's move on. Just wanted to bring that to everybody's attention. What's happening in LA? Getting ready to have a serious crash on uh, the housing. Look at this. Florida is experiencing an increase in leprosy cases, with nearly 20% of the cases across the country coming from the center of the state. Florida stays in the news. Florida is staying in the news. And we know the leprosy is a plague according to Leviticus 13. We know in 2nd Ezra 16 about the plagues that's going to be coming in the last days. We know about 2nd Ezra 15 about the plagues, America and spiritual Egypt getting hit with plagues, as in the days of old. Remember in the days of old, man, you had the boils that was hitting. Now we're seeing leprosy getting ready to it's already hitting in Florida and spreading. So look at this guy. He's bubbled up around the eyes. They're just showing the skin place, not even the leprosy parts where the discoloration of skin. Yeah, you see it here, but it gets worse than that. So he's got the plaguing of the skin, where they talk about the peeling up of the skin and all of that in the law. Look at this, fingers coming off. You see who was hitting. See, so the plague of leprosy is even coming in, taking names, all through the power of the Most High, man. These are the days that we're living in right now. So we got leprosy on the loose, trucking companies getting shut down, homelessness arising, people losing their jobs, losing their homes, and now permissionless travel entering into the fold come 2024, man. If anybody doesn't think we're in the last days, man, and all hell is breaking loose, I don't know what world you're living in, man. You're definitely going to need to get your head examined. You might need a whole lobotomy and a lifetime worth of counseling, because As they say, man, Stevie Wonder can see that these are the last days. That's gonna do it for your brother, man. It's a mouth IQAhmath first name. IQ is all the same, man. Always remember, fear the Most High. Keep the commandments. Don't shoot your messenger. Hit that like button if you haven't already, man. Like, share, and subscribe. Share the video. Let's let the algorithms know, man. We stand in rebellion to the folly that they do when it comes down to pushing this truth. All right, let's do that in solidarity. Shalom.